story in American sanity, and they'll feel so good. It's just, I mean, I could just see Phil Weiser, for instance, doing that, and they'll make little things about it and press conferences, and they'll tears of joy, and at the end of the day, it won't mean anything to anybody. I mean, who cares if the account's called the Trump savings account or the American savings account or whatever? It's just a savings account.
Well, the reason it matters to Trump is because then for decades down the road, it's still referred to. His name is still there. That's why he slaps his name on the buildings. That's the idea. It is this narcissism of needing some sort of a legacy. That's why he threw his name on the Kennedy Center. That's why he's trying, that Arc of Victory, or the hell he's building. Chances are Trump's going to be worked into that.
It's awesome.
His name's going to be worked into that as well. Chances
sure.
are.
And the Democrats.
Yeah, and that's just dumb. I mean, it's just
so
dumb.
Good. What's just equally dumb is going to be the whole effort to go take his name off of everything.
Well, why put it on there in the first place? And that's the idea. It is.
Who cares?
But the Times is right. It's about the self-aggrandizement of the fact that I need to have my name all over a thing. Imagine the debates we would have had during the Biden administration if everything they were doing was the Biden this, Joe Biden this, Joe Biden that. That's it. I mean, you can talk about
what they should have come out with,
what?
though?
What?
They should have come out with like an extra strength NyQuil called Biden Quill.
That would be good. That is good. That would be good.
I wouldn't change the name on that.
Yeah. But the
Take
issue is
some Biden Quill and went to bed. Best nap I ever had.
The thing for me is that it's taking government institutions and names and just slapping your name on it. I mean, the Kennedy Center, that's an act of Congress. You can't just decide to change the name, but Trump did. That's the self-aggrandizement, and that is the narcissism that is contained inside of our current president.
Who did you think the people were electing? It's not like he
exactly
surprised the country on this.
I know exactly.
He had a whole television show named after his personality. The dude put himself in movies like totally randomly, like Home Alone 2.
Yeah, because
then,
he wouldn't let him shoot in the lobby unless he was in the movie.
Brilliant.
That was the agreement.
Brilliant. Yeah. Look, and who people barely even know what hotel he was in. The Macaulay Culkin, the kid, but they remember Trump, and they remember Trump went to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The dude is the king of self-promotion, and then people are like, he's trying to self-promote. Yeah, that's who the American people elected. And when the left gets all worked up about it and all that stuff, wow, it just makes it even funnier for us. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Nick in Denver. Good morning, Nick. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Good morning. Thanks for taking your time. I can't make up my mind how much is just plain hubris and how much is just he knows it's going to make the people on the left go crazy. And I think it's a combination of both. But I personally don't care if he renames this country United States of Trump, as long as there are results. I think this country is result-oriented. They want to see results. And everything else is just fluff. And I also like to remind some of my Democratic friends that you created Trump because you got so far from where the traditional Democratic Party was. You created Trump, and Americans wanted to come back more to the center.
I think that's a fair critique. What do you think, Bill? I mean, for most of his life, Donald Trump was a Democrat.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
And do you agree with that assessment that the Democrat Party went so far left that it made Donald Trump, who spent most of his life a Democrat, a Republican?
Well, that's what I'm trying to kind of wrap my head around. I disagree because I see that Donald Trump had to change some of the positions in his mind that he said that he had held earlier, abortion being one of those. And that's not just a little tiny thing inside of the divide between conservatives and Democrats. So while I understand where you're going with it, Nick, when Donald Trump flips on the issue of abortion, that's a heck of a lot more than the Democrats becoming so liberal that Donald Trump then found himself standing in the tent of what is now the GOP.
Well, let me put it this way. When you look at the big Democratic leaders in the past, Truman, FDR, even John Kennedy, even though he wasn't around long enough, if they were alive today, they would not find a home in the Democratic Party. Period. They would. There's no way they'd be admitted back into the Democratic Party. That's how far left the whole Democratic Party has shifted. And I keep telling my Democratic friends, you need to bring the Democratic Party closer back to the center. That's the problem.
Do they, though? Do they? Because in Colorado right now, the only direction the Democrat Party is going, in fact, you see it with Phil Weiser and Jenna Griswold, is become more socialist, hate Trump more, and guess what? They're probably going to win their primaries, and they'll probably win the general. And Colorado will become more progressive.
This is what happens. Look at California. We're like only a couple of steps behind California. These policies that are basically far, far left and communist do not work, and that is the verdict of history. And California, who used to be the shining light in the United States as far as success and everything else, the Golden State has turned into the brown state. It is bankrupt. The leaders are completely, they have no clue what to do. Now, the obvious thing, what they should do is go back to the left and start behaving more rationally, but that's not going to happen. They're going to take that state completely down. And we're probably...
Nick, I got a question about that.
Nick, he has a good chance to become the next president. Gavin Newsom does.
No, well, anything's possible.
Yeah.
People will fall in love with his hair, and he's not a bad-looking guy, and he's tall and presidential and all that. But the policies don't work. In a microcosm, look what's going to happen. It's already happening in New York City. The policies are not working. What do we have? 19 people homeless people freeze to death because they didn't know what they were doing.
But I agree with you that they don't work, but this is what we point out. I shout this into a microphone for years now on this station. It's not working in Colorado. Even polls go, it's not working in Colorado. People are upset, and they go back and vote Democrat every time.
Well, I think the level of pain has to be even worse. I mean, the prime example is Russia. Without getting too much into the weeds, Russia is the biggest country in the world by far. It has more natural resources than anybody in the world. The only disadvantage they have is that they're so far in the north that their winters are brutal. That's the only disadvantage that Russia has. And yet, after 70 years of communism, they went flat broke.
Now, I got a question on that. If we're talking about Russia and their 70 years of communism and everything else, why do we have people inside of the GOP cozying up to them? Why did Tucker Carlson last year tell us that Putin wasn't such a bad guy, and in fact, maybe living in Russia is a better experience than living in America? We have CPAC going and hanging out with Viktor Orban. Those are authoritarian leaders.
Yes.
So what do you do with that?
You are, in a so-called democracy where you can have the freedom of speech and all that, a lot of people get lost. And I think Tucker Carlson is lost. And maybe he's just doing this on purpose to get attention. I don't know.
Now, the question I've got now, I'm interrupting Nick. Then what I'm asking you is, if you're saying that the Democrats are going so far left, they're now communists, in your opinion, what the hell's going on? What the hell's going on with people in the GOP saying that Russia's cool? That's a hell of a lot closer to communism, in my opinion, than what's going on in California.
Being contrarians, but good.
There are not that many Republicans doing that. Tucker Carlson,
CPAC hung out with Viktor Orban and held a meeting in Hungary. That is hardly keeping an arm's length distance from the authoritarians and people that like that sort of communist rule. That's hardly that.
Well, I don't have a good answer for you, but I'm just saying that what they're doing can't be sustained, because history has shown it cannot be sustained. And it'll probably run its course. It'll run its course, and I think the world will just move on and realize this is just an aberration.
I understand, Nick, and I do think the Democrats in some ways have gone a little far left. But remember, when we're bringing out California as the example of the communism that is falling apart, it is the fourth largest economy on the planet, behind the U.S., China, and Germany.
Exodus of every state out there. All right.
Fourth largest economy on the planet. and yet we're saying they've gone so communist they're falling apart. It's a $4
people are
trillion
leaving.
economy.
They're destroying it.
It's a $4 trillion economy, though. That's not destroying
texting in. Oh, yeah. California's not nearly as healthy as it used to be economically. Being checkered texting in. Here's the trade-off with Trump. Yes, he's self-aggrandizing. However, no other president will make you feel as good about being an American as Donald Trump. That's what he sells.
So it's vibes.
Do you agree?
Vibes.
I don't think you could say patriotism's just vibes.
Vibes. He said just make yourself feel good. Vibes.
That's part of being a patriotic.
It's vibes. So now we
Is that what patriotism is?
We
Just
criticized
vibes?
Kamala. Hang on a sec here. He didn't say patriotism. He said just feel good. Those are vibes. Those are vibes.
Do you think Donald Trump makes you feel good about being an American?
No, not at all. Not me personally. No.
Yeah, it does me. This guy loves his country. You think Democrats make you feel good about being American?
No, I hate both parties. I burned both parties to the ground today.
Who makes you feel
suck.
good about being an American?
I don't know. Not sure I'm prepared to answer that at this point because I haven't thought about it enough to bring somebody up top of mind. There isn't a lot of time.
You can't make it. Nobody jumps to the front of your mind that goes, "I'm proud to be like, be an American."
I can't point to a single person. No, I can't. I'm sorry. That's just I don't wander around my day and I haven't consumed much of my thought looking for an individual example of who holds up patriotism to me.
Nobody inspires you to be an American?
The country inspires me to be an American. And that's why, because we have been given a gift that the average rank and file person has the power to enact massive change on our government. It's the thing that I've talked about it before here on the Jeff and Bill show, is that this idea that I hear from some people, America, love it or leave it, get bent. That's 180 degrees away from why and how America was founded. With America, it's love it or change it. We have been given the gift of change. We are one of the few countries on this planet, and one of the ones, and the first one to take the bite at the apple, that we are going to let the average person have the ability to enact change in our governmental system. That's why we elect our chief executive every 4 years. That is a gift. That's why I love America, because of what the country is, not because of who someone is.
All right, there you go. Feel free to join the conversation. I get all fired up at the national anthem, the flyover, Donald Trump. Yes, strength is back in the White House. Feel free to give us a call. Join the conversation, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. Bill, you didn't get a little teary when Barack Obama got elected? We walked out Chicago that night out in November.
Didn't get teary at all.
No?
Nope, not teary at all. I do not. I can't imagine. I can't think of a single time in my life in which I have shed tears based on the result of an election.
How about when Kennedy gave the speech, "Ask not what your country can do for you"?
Yeah, I watched that on video. I was
Martin Luther King.
Again, very little.
We don't do things because they're easy. We do them because they're hard.
Very little, and went back and have done reports and stuff on that.
Up.
Yeah. But again, that's about the idea behind America. Just when you talk about the idea of the Star-Spangled Banner, and when you talk about the singing of the America the Beautiful and the flyover, those are all representations of America, not an individual. I can be proud of those things, but I don't have to celebrate an individual.
All right. Well, I'd like it. I get fired up. To that text messenger's point, Donald Trump does do a great job being checkered. Making us feel good about being Americans again, because I think the left made you constantly feel guilty about being American, constantly apologize, feel terrible for some aspect of being an American, and Donald Trump reminded you don't need to apologize for how great this country is. Embrace it and celebrate it. All right. More to come. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show. Let's talk game day men's health real quick. I want to talk to the guys out there. As we get older, things change. Maybe you haven't been feeling like yourself, more tired, more fatigued, more stressed than you want to admit. Billy and I have both been approached by Game Day Men's Health and had a great experience. Both went in, both got tested, both getting the testosterone, and it's awesome.
Yeah, the thing is that with Game Day Men's Health, they are a data-driven solution. So they're going to take a look at what your numbers are. And in fact, there are a lot of people that work with Game Day Men's Health here locally that have actually worked with those other clinics that you've heard other advertisements on. But they have left that system because they saw that being too profit-driven and not focused enough on the people they're treating. These are the rank and file workers that we've talked to at Game Day Men's Health, where they said, I couldn't deal with the Walmart type attitude of those other places because it was just about move the person through, make sure the check clears, and get them their shots. Game Day Men's Health is different. They are a small business model, but they do give you national reach. You can find Game Day Men's Health offices all across at Denver. You can go GameDayMen'sHealth.com/Denver, and you can find the one nearest to you. It is a small business feel where you come in there and you talk to an individual about what you're feeling, and they do some tests, and then they recommend a plan for you. I'm stopping by every week at the clinic and getting my T-shot. The best part about it is it takes me less than 5 minutes. I step in, I wait until it's my turn, and then I'm done because I spent all the front end time with them. Now, every 6 weeks we get back together and we do an evaluation. But here's the thing that made a difference for Jeff and I. The very first time we sat down with the people from Men's Health, Game Day Men's Health, they're in the break room, not out front making some sort of a marketing statement. This is inside the break room where all the staff hangs out. They had this plaque that said, helping men be better, helping guys be better dads, better husbands, better fathers, better men. And it was a game changer for us because that's the things that Jeff and I had been struggling with. I got to be honest with you. There are times I get tired. Middle of the afternoon, I am running out of energy. And then when the kids and everybody gets home, you got to rally and you got to find that extra energy. I didn't have it at times. But now, Game Day Men's Health, I'm a couple of weeks in, I don't have that afternoon nap that is talking to me all the time. And I want some brownie points of the day. When my wife gets home, she's tired, and I leap up, bang, I'm going to make dinner, honey. Yeah, I got the brownie points.
Dude, the energy is real.
It's fantastic. Yeah, talk to us more about it.
Real. So if you're not feeling like you're on your game, make an appointment today for your free testosterone test. Get back in the game. Game Day Men's Health in Aurora, Cherry Creek, Parker, Inglewood, and Thornton. Helping guys be better dads, better husbands, better men. Again, Game Day Men's Health, Aurora, Cherry Creek, Parker, Inglewood, and Thornton, or go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Phone line's hot. We'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver.
And now on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. This is where you get to hear both sides. We are The Jeff and Bill Show.
For more than 30 years, I've been a journalist, and the power and protection.
Springs. You're in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show. We get both sides of an issue. We're talking the New York Times article in the weekend, over the weekend, saying Trump, he's putting his image everywhere. His name's on too much stuff in Washington, D.C., battleships and Kennedy Center, and puts too many paintings and a big arc going up. And everyone's like, yeah, the guy who put his name on pretty much every steak and vodka and business that you could possibly create, yeah, he's going to put his name on stuff.
Did you ever read Herald of the Purple Crayon? You know the Herald of the Purple Crayon? No? Okay. This is a little older than then. He reminds me of sort of a Herald of the Purple Crayon, although Herald draws his reality into being there. But, yeah, the idea of taking the Purple Crayon and just going around and put your name on anything every once in a while.
Yeah. You know what? This is a unique part of American history. Enjoy it. Because in 2 years, it'll be probably back to boring politicians.
That may be the one thing we can agree on this entire morning.
Yeah, that's right. Let's go to the phone lines. Roy in Colorado Springs. Good morning, Roy. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Yeah, good morning.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I listen to you guys and all the radio talkers. I'm not being critical of you guys, but you're failing to go back into the history of these people that have brought us to this point.
Ooh, good. Walk us through it then, man, please.
Well, just going way back to, not way back, but even FDR, but I'm not going to go that far. Just the recent presidents, Obama and Biden, and going back even into Bush and Gore, and then you got Bill, and Bill came in and eliminated about 1/3 of the CIA because they were too conservative, and changed that out. And then we got into Bush running a couple of terms, and after he got out, I heard a personal interview that it was alive after he got out of office. They were asking him, what's he going to do with his life and all this stuff and blah blah blah, and in that conversation he proclaimed that he was a progressive. Well, just a few years later, Hillary's running for president, and she proclaims that she's a progressive. ACLU, where she started her career, was financed by the communists way back in the day. Now we got Obama coming in here. He was groomed by a card-carrying communist in Hawaii, Frank Marshall Davis, and he's made alliances with the Muslims, which he was raised in a Muslim and
okay, trained. Now let me stop you right there. Just Roy, you've been walking us through this, but what I'm looking at is how does this blend into the what Jeff and I were talking about in the New York Times subject of the piece over the weekend, the self-aggrandizement and Donald Trump putting his name on everything, because all those examples, while they did do some self-enriching, while there was some self-aggrandizement, we don't have the Obama Kennedy Center, we don't have the Bill Clinton Airport, we don't have the Jimmy Carter homestead for lost children. So, help me on that side of things.
You hit it there for a few minutes. Is that it drives the left crazy? But just back to where I really called about, and then I'll hang up. But the left, when they had the DNC in Denver, they all were waving American flags, but they all threw them on the ground when they left. There were people up there picking these things up because they were just trashing the flag when the event was over, But the terminology has changed from liberal, and they keep hiding it. The liberal, progressive, Marxist, socialist, communist is really Marxist, communist. And the extreme left, they're softening the picture of it. And the extreme right, they're softening a picture of it. We're conservative or we're liberal, but no. They've tagged conservatives as fascists because that whole Hitler thing, that was a very conservative, meaning real tight on whatever, just to give the guy power. But
all right, Roy, Colorado Springs, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. All right, let's talk advanced hair restoration. If you're losing your hair, guys, and desire to have it back, then Advanced Hair Restoration has the easiest guaranteed solution. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results. I've seen it with my own eyes. Guys, it's not magic, but close to it. They put hair where you need it the most, and bam, it grows. It's actually science. Advanced Hair has it all. Top-rated Dr. Tanya Pauls, modern technology, and best of all, you get your own natural hair that begins regrowing the very next day. Advanced Hair even guarantees it will grow for life. So schedule your free consultation now, 720-459-HAIR. If you qualify, you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver and has changed the lives of tens of thousands of people. So don't wait. Check out the before and afters online for yourself, 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com, 720-459-HAIR, advancedhair.com. More of the Jeff and Bill Show coming with your phone calls. You're listening to Jeff and Bill on 710 KNUS in Denver.
And on AM 1460, FM 101.1 in The Answer in Colorado Springs. We've got Ryan and Joe waiting to talk to us. You could grab that last line. Just saying. This is where you hear both sides talk. We are the Jeff and Bill Show.
710 KNUS in Denver, Colorado.
And on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show where you hear both sides. Phone lines jam-packed on this question. Is Trump putting his name on too many things? New York Times thinks so. Let's go to the phone lines. Ryan in Roxborough. Good morning, Ryan. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Yeah, good morning.
Hey, how's it going? I just wanted to cover two things really quickly. But first being, well, really, Trump is covering too many things in my opinion. But California and illegal immigration real quick. I think California's a ticking time bomb. I think that's a completely failed state. I mean, if you just Google California's debt right now, it says $1.6 trillion. I bet it's really 2, maybe even 2.3, maybe $3 trillion. Who knows what it really is?
But do deficits like that really matter, given how the U.S. deals with ours?
Well,
I think that's part of the issue that we have involved.
Well, they will eventually, I think. I think this country could completely fail at some point. I mean, we're just living on borrowed time at some point. So I guess my point here is when you drive companies like Tesla and Facebook and other prime time, I think Oracle's another one of them, out of California, you dissolve a lot of high-paying jobs right there, a lot of tax revenue. I think there's a ton of fraud that needs to be uncovered in California.
By the way,
and I can simply
guys, did you see this? That it cost the Seattle Seahawks winners, the Super Bowl winners, guys, more money to play in Seattle or in California.
I did see that, yeah.
Than they actually made that day.
Yeah, because of how, and it's because of how they do.
You get taxed by the day you work there.
Yeah, and what they do, and I do think that what they're doing, I think that sort of a jock tax is counterproductive. I don't like it because what they do is they are taking your total salary over the course of the year, and then they're amortizing that based on the number of days that you are in that city, and then saying you're drawing that per day salary, and then they tax you based on that per day salary.
So stupid.
Yeah, I think it is. I would agree. I think all of us here, Ryan, Jeff, and myself, should agree. That is dumb. I'm not against a higher tax rate for higher earners, but that one and the effect of it and the execution of it is stupid.
Well, I guess my point is, long term, they could find themselves out of great companies that help this tax revenue. And if you just look at like the high-speed train, rail, whatever project that they have there, like I don't think any rail was ever built, but somehow they spent, all these billions of dollars. Where did the money go? The only thing that I can assume is complete and total fraud.
Yep.
So I think they're a ticking time bomb. I think people are leaving, and I think a lot of people there are just broke. So anyway, moving on. When it comes to illegal immigration, I think for me, it's never about the immigrant at all. It's never about the skin color. It's never about anything other than the Democrat Party, especially under the Biden administration, strategically brought in as many illegal aliens as they possibly could to just help pack the census. They filled out maybe areas that were just kind of blue into deeper blue. Maybe they flipped some areas that they needed that were red, and they just piled in as many illegals as they possibly could. And the truth is that if all these illegal aliens were just simply to somehow vanish out of the country, the Democrats would lose. I think it's something like between 10 and 18 congressional seats. So that's why they're freaking out. Their power will be eroded if they're all gone. And I am not down. That is the ultimate gerrymandering. And honestly, it's treasonous in my mind, too. I think it's absolutely insane that people are defending it, allowing it, letting it happen. I mean, you're out of your mind if you think that bringing in and letting all these illegals stay is something that is good for this country, because it is not.
Ryan, Roxborough, appreciate the call. Thanks so much. Ryan's line is open if you want to jump in. 303-696-1971.
I got a question on that.
Yeah.
How come we have seen such anemic job growth then over the previous 12, 13 months in the Trump administration? Why is it so anemic? And the question I have for that is...
I thought January had a good jobs report.
I said the past 12 to 13 months. The job growth has been anemic compared to previous years. And January is okay, but January is still way behind what January normally is. It's still underwater. And this is where I'm going with it, is like what Ryan said, the idea of getting them all out of here and it's a harm on the economy. What I'm not seeing in that job growth is all of those jobs that the illegals used to do that now the Americans are filling. That's what I don't see. If we were having...
happening right now then?
Then what?
What do you think is happening right now?
Those jobs are going unfilled, and those jobs that used to be there aren't there, and so there isn't as much hiring because there aren't as many people applying. The job pool has shrunk, and the reason I bring that up is because, dovetailing on what Ryan says, the idea for taking out all of the illegal immigrants is then those are the good-paying jobs and everything that the Americans will get. We have to stop competing with them for jobs. Well, we're not seeing the same job growth. And that's part of it because they're not there to be employed. What I'm trying to point out is based on the job growth, we are not seeing the Americans replace the jobs that the immigrants used to do.
So
those
they're
jobs
just not doing that.
Yes, they're just not being done. Yeah. So
homes aren't being built?
Yes, correct.
Vegetables aren't being picked?
Yep, exactly. That's what's happening across the country. Yes, that's what's happening.
That
I'm
seems,
just saying.
I mean, to me, it seems like that would be something that would change. So,
Maybe
we're
not.
in the midst of the change, but
Yeah.
who knows? Okay,
Yeah,
let's
who
go
knows?
to...
That's why I'm talking about Ryan and saying the idea that they are here to hurt the economy. Well, in this instance, we're not seeing proof of that assertion.
3674 saying there are less government jobs thanks to Trump. That is exactly right. All right, let's go to Joe in Littleton. Good morning, Joe. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Hey, happy President's Day.
Same to you. Joe, who's your favorite president and why?
Well, of course, I love Washington and Lincoln, but I really like Calvin Coolidge because he knew how to say no. He kept within budget, and I just respect that.
We had
really
a few people say Calvin Coolidge today.
Yeah.
Just say no.
Impressed.
Could you imagine winning that as governor? I'm not going to do anything. I think people might actually vote for that. Go ahead, Joe.
I think so, too.
What were you thinking?
Yeah, continue.
Well, Trump makes me proud to be an American, and I know he has an ego as big as can be, but, some of them, like LBJ, I mean, he used to cuss and swear at his staff, and you got to have an ego to do that, and Kennedy is adultery, and Clinton was adultery. You got to have a pretty big ego to do those kind of things. So I think a lot of them did have big egos, but I like Trump because of his policies, voter ID, celebrate the military, religious rights, morality on abortion, manufacturing of drugs here and the essentials, get rid of the evildoers, 250-year celebration that's going to be fantastic.
Could you imagine?
He took a bullet for this country.
That's right. That's right. Could you imagine what this country's celebration would be like if Kamala Harris was president? It'd be a giant apology tour. It'd be a giant apology tour.
Jeff, I don't even want to imagine that. But when Trump bent down on his knee and put his heart on his heart and his hand on that flag, that told me that man loved this country. And no, is he perfect? No, nobody is. But I think his policies are wonderful. I just can't.
Got a question for you on that,
say
Joe.
enough about it.
If you would see Joe Biden or Barack Obama do the exact same thing that you gave Trump credit for, would you say that proves they love America?
No, I would have to watch their actions. But well, I'll tell you what. I watched.
But Joe, the singular action, was good enough.
Biden's, Billy, I looked at Biden when he what his policies were on abortions, and that told me enough about him.
So it really isn't about what Trump did. You already liked him beforehand. You're just using that as a reason.
I didn't know much about him. I didn't know much about his character or him, but the things and the policies he's putting forth are what I believe in. I believe that you don't take a baby's life. I believe that you do have a voter ID. I believe that you support the military, and I can't see where he's doing anything that. And other than his ego, probably. There's probably a few things that I wouldn't agree with, but on the whole, I just do.
All those are fair, but I would like to point out that, just because you saw someone of the other political party do exactly what you gave credit for Trump, you would see one person is loving the country and the other person is not. So is that judgment in that situation?
I've never seen Hillary Clinton. Bill, I've never seen Hillary Clinton or Obama do anything like that.
I know, but we can play.
And it just gave my heart a stir that somebody would do that. it said to me, I believe this man does. I couldn't prove it at that point because I didn't know all his policies or what he's done. But when I can see the action, makes a huge difference to me.
I appreciate that, Joan. Thanks for the phone call. And remember, there were a whole bunch of other group of people that decided to kneel during an anthem. They were called un-American. Just pointing that out.
Do you think they loved America, though? Do you think that was what they were doing it out of? Or shame of America?
I think there's a little bit of both, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, which is part of what makes America great. We have been given the ability to change it. It's not a dictatorship. We don't have a king. That's the gift on President's Day. That's what we need to remember. We can all affect the change we want.
Be the change. That was a Michael Jackson song.
Hee-hee.
Starts with the man in the mirror right there.
Yep.
All right. The debate, hot today. If you missed any of it, go to 710knus.com to download the podcast. And we'll be back tomorrow. More debate. This is the show where you're allowed to be a part of it. There's no other show like this in Colorado. So call in, be a part of it. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show on 710 KNUS in Denver.
And on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. This is where you get to hear both sides. We're The Jeff and Bill Show. We'll see you tomorrow.